My name is Justin Mokas, and I am the Math Assessment Content Specialist at the Department of Education. Thank you for watching this training on the features and scoring of an ILEARN performance task. The group of questions replaces I-STEP Part 1 with a single authentic scenario and will be an opportunity for students to demonstrate higher order thinking in an open-ended format. First, I am going to navigate to the sample items in the Released Items repository. Search IDOE and find our home page. Then select Student Assessment in the right side list. Choose the orange ILEARN box and the sample items are housed in the For Educators section. Select Sample Items in Scoring and then click the link to the Released Items repository. Once in the RIR, click Sign In and choose your grade level. Today we'll be looking at a Grade 5 item, and we will confirm that at the bottom of the screen. The Grade 5 performance task, or PT, is separate from the other discrete math sample items. While tested in the same window at the end of the school year, the PT will be in its own segment to prevent testing fatigue. Let's look at the PT. I will leave the various accommodations and supports on default for now. We encourage you to come back in and experiment with them at a later time. Once we are in the PT, we see the prompt or stimulus on the left-hand side. I could expand it using the center arrows, but this one fits very nicely with all the info visible at once. Navigational buttons will be on the top left, and universal tools like masking, line reader, zoom, and a help guide will be on the top right. Let's read the prompt together. Lizzie and Zila are interested in making pottery. The following chart shows how much clay is needed to make different projects. The prompt and the items have their own menus in the upper right corner, where features such as highlighting, notepad, review, and item tutorials can be found. Text-to-speech is only available as an accommodation, but the controls would be in these menus. Let's get started with the actual math problems. Number 1. How much more clay, in pounds, is needed to make a large bowl than a small bowl? This item addresses Content Standard 5AT2, and how much more is a clue to subtract. So I will use scratch paper and subtract the 1.5 pounds for the small bowl from the 3 1/4 pounds from the large bowl. One content point can be earned by answering either 1 3/4 or 1.75 or any equivalent value. The keyboard does not allow for the input of any characters besides what is shown in the number pad for this computer-scored item type. However, it is recommended that a student uses the on-screen fraction button because the / will raise every preceding digit to the numerator, included the intended whole number. The remaining items are open-ended and use a 2-point rubric. The state of Indiana has licensed the use of math questions written for Common Core so long as they also align to our Indiana academic standards. These items already come with specific item rubrics and notes, but also must align to the general 2-point scoring rubric. While assessing only process, the student must also arrive at a correct value to earn the top score of 2. Typically in the past, the show your work step, or declaring a math problem, was given process credit, and a correct solution was given a content point. Now, the work and answer may be scored together for a point, and further evidence or justification scored as the second point. In other words, 2 points are awarded for a full and complete response. 1 point is scored for a partial understanding, either a correct solution or a correct explanation. And no points are given for a mere acquaintance, completely incorrect, or uninterpretable response. Number 2 is a hand-scored item and is designed to assess Process Standard 1 to make sense of a problem. Zila wants to make a set of 6 mugs. The clay only comes in 1-pound blocks. What is the least number of blocks of clay Zila will need to make 6 mugs? Explain how you figured out your answer. Note Zila knows that leftover clay from each block can be squished together and used. The first step is to calculate the exact amount of clay required to make the 6 mugs. Individual steps of the algorithm do not have to be demonstrated, but the math problem used should be clear and the answer should be explained. After doing work on scratch paper, I might choose to expand my work area and type in a response. The rightmost button on the toolbar with the omega symbol will allow for the use of the special math characters. 3/4 pounds times each of 6 mugs equals 4.5 pounds of clay. Since it is impossible to buy part of a block, Zila needs 5 blocks of clay. Let's compare to the rubric and 3 other scored items. Here is a different response showing repeated addition for the method. Please note that there are no steps to the algorithm that show 18/4 being converted to a mixed number or reduced, and full credit is given. This example shows us that 5 is regarded only as a correct solution for 1 point, and without a justification, 2 points cannot be earned. The student had an original math problem that would have led to a solution, and formerly this may have earned process credit with the incorrect solution docked on content. In ILEARN, without the correct solution and without addressing the purchase of whole pounds of clay, no points will be awarded for mathematical process. Item number 3 is assessing another process standard. Number 2, reasoning quantitatively. There could be more than one correct path for this question. Lizzie has 12 pounds of clay and wants to use all of it. She does not need to make all of the projects and may make more than one of any project. Describe a plan for Lizzie to use 12 pounds of clay making projects from the chart. Show how you know she will use exactly 12 pounds of clay with this plan. And I know that 3 times 4 equals 12. A small bowl is 1 1/2 pounds. 1 1/2 goes into 3 twice, and then 4 of those would make 12 pounds. So she can make a set of 2 times 4 equal 8 small bowls. And again, we find some sample answers in the rubric. There are multiple correct pathways to this item. 2 points are awarded for performing a correct mathematical statement and demonstrating the process of swapping for smaller items to make it back down to the cap of 12 pounds. This student has indicated a list of products that correctly approaches 12 pounds, but the declaration that all 12 pounds have been used is an inaccuracy that results in the loss of a process point. This problem contains no support for having presumably one of each of the 5 objects, and is inaccurate in the possibility of doing so. Finally, item number 4 is assessing process standard 4, modeling with mathematics. Zila is making a plan to use her 12 pounds of clay. She still wants to make 6 mugs. She also wants to make 6 small bowls. Lizzie says, 12 pounds is not enough to make 6 mugs in 6 small bowls. I know because I did the math. Zila says, it is enough if I make the bowls smaller. Make a plan for Zila to use no more than 12 pounds of clay to make 6 mugs in 6 bowls that are smaller than the bowls in the chart. Zila does not need to use exactly 12 pounds, but she would like to use most of the clay. In the plan, state how much clay she should use for each of her smaller bowls. Her bowls should all be the same size. And a possible solution might be, she still has to make the 6 mugs that are 4.5 pounds. 12 minus 4.5 equals 7.5 pounds for the small bowls. 7.5 divided by 6 equals 1.25. So she can make 6 mugs at 3/4 pounds each and 6 smaller bowls at 1 1/4 pounds each and use all of the clay. Let's look at some scored items one more time and see how these answers might compare. This accounts for correct mathematical statements and a solution that approaches 12 while working from a smaller size bowl. It did not have to equal 12 exactly, but it does account for the shortfall. It also makes an assumption from having solved a previous item. Rubrics are designed to not penalize a student a second time for carrying forward an error to a later dependent item. This student makes mathematically correct statements of calculating a remainder of clay after the mugs and adding up 6 1.5s. However, the student failed to attend to the direction of using a smaller amount than the given 1.5 to find a value that does work instead of disproving that the given size will not. This earns only 1 point. This student has proposed an amount used for the project without any evidence of specific numbers or models. Thank you for taking some time to learn about the features and item scoring of the ILEARN math performance tasks. Please feel free to reach out to me with any additional math or assessment questions that you may have at the contact information above. Have a great day.